quite some time. I remember his dad refereeing, Nigel. So here we go. It's the younger of the Hendrikse boys, Jordan Hendrikse, to get us underway. And the Sharks all in black, playing towards the Aquinas end, taken in initially by Ulster and by big Jude Postlethwaite. It is a very, very big Ulster three-quarter division with Jacob Stockdale at full back, Postlethwaite and McCloskey in the middle of the park, Werner back on the side, and Zach Ward, all big men. But are they quick enough and will they be agile enough? We'll find out. Nathan Doak puts the ball for the first time and finds a very good clearance. That's important to get away, because very often this season we've seen Ulster fumble the restart or the kickoff.
Yeah, that's a great start from Ulster there this evening, Jim. And I think we saw last week in the game against Leinster that Ulster had a lot of success whenever they kicked out and then put pressure on the Leinster line out. So they were looking to do the same against the Sharks and try and put a little bit of pressure on this first, especially with the Sharks, whose Esterhuizen so close to kickoff.
Yeah, no Esterhuizen. Sharks have shortened it just inside their own half. Well taken. Hendrikse gets it away. Kolisi in the middle of the park. Always presents the ball nicely. The other Hendrikse, Jaden. Well taken by former Shark Werner. That mane of hair flying in. What's a little bit of a breeze. Well won by Ulster. Not the greatest pass in the world. Now they managed to get it away. Oh, that's been charged down. This could be catastrophic for Ulster, and it's been saved, I do believe. And how he did that. Well, Jack Murphy, having committed the error, saved Ulster's blushes. That could have been also easily have been a try.
Behind,
charged down by Lukhanyo.
Yeah, great recovery there by Jack Murphy, and I think Ulster need to be careful. One bad pass, they can't then shift it on, especially under this pressure from a firm South African defence.
Well, it's all about pace, and the Sharks have got that in abundance. Wee little bit of a fumble there from Manu Shatuka, who's moved into the back row to allow his brother to take Esterhuizen's position in the second row. Sharks almost up to Ulster's 10-metre line. Hendrikse to Hendrikse.
Ball's there. Ball is there.
Referee tells him the ball is there. Good defending by Ulster. Andy Warwick, the last man to get up. I think he's okay.
Stay back. Use it.
Again, it's Jaden Hendrikse going to kick, and he does kick. Jacob Stockdale to be tested for the first time. Well won by the Sharks. Chase was perfect. And again, little chip kick over the head of Werner, and that's going to give Ulster their first line out of the evening. The sun has just about gone down, which makes life a little bit easier for us, so we're not squinting into it.
It does, Jim. It's not often we'll be complaining about the sun shining in Belfast, and I think you can see immediately the Sharks have kicked the ball probably a little bit more than Louis Ludic was sort of alluding to in pre-game, but they're just trying to force Ulster back, put the pressure on, and make Ulster try and get out of their own exit zones.
Huge game this for Ulster after today's results, particularly the one in Wales with the Scarlets beating Leinster. They've put Ulster into 12th, so they need this one and maybe another victory between now and the end of the season. They're away to Munster next, and then they're away to Edinburgh. And that's a good driving line now. Doak gets it away. McCloskey has a wee go himself, and he's still going. Slips it away now to Doak. There's a chance if he can shift this. And that kick was the wrong option. And it's bounced handily, and it looks as if there's going to be a penalty against the Sharks.
Side entry on the blind.
Oxenchae doing something naughty on the blind side, I believed.
Yeah, it was good, Jim. Just as Ulster got that penalty advantage, you saw McCloskey. We saw the wraparound play, but McCloskey makes the right decision of holding on and looking for the offload, and unfortunately couldn't quite get the crossfield to Zach Ward.
Yes, Zach Ward was actually well in front of. He overran that. Has to move from the right wing to the left wing, and there is a bit of a difference.
But a good start, Jim, for Ulster in the line-out to have won that penalty advantage. It just gives them a little bit of confidence. From watching the Leinster Scarlets game earlier, the Leinster gave away a few soft penalties, a few soft turnovers, and it gave Scarlets the opportunity to get into the Leinster half. Ulster are going to need to make sure they're very accurate. They're going to take advantage here. Jack Murphy, we've seen all year, kicking the line really well. This is where he's going to hope to try and get down in between the 10-metre and 22, and then Ulster most likely go back for another maul.
Jacob Stockdale took a bit of a thump, but he seems to be fine. Jack Murphy has grown into this outside half row pretty efficiently, hasn't he?
Oh, fantastic. And that's just the confidence of him and putting a banana kick from 5 metres out, 4 minutes into a big, massive must-win game. It's a huge growth from Jack Murphy this year, and a good start for him with that line kick.
What's the thing going?
9th start of the year for the young outside half. Andrew Warwick's had a word with Rob Herring. Izuchukwu dummies the jump, nothing wrong with that. Well taken at the back by O'Connor. Here comes Werner Koch. They know all about him in Durban. He's enjoyed himself. Here's Izuchukwu, scored a wonderful try in Dublin last week against Leinster. Good drive on by Ulster once again. Matty Reid. Little hop and a skip by Scott Wilson, who's a very nimble prop forward, sometimes almost balletic. Straight into the heavy traffic by Izuchukwu. Herring tries to set it up for Ulster, but good defending in the middle of the park by the Sharks, and Ulster give away the penalty, and that's their first error of the evening. So 5 minutes gone, 1 down to Ulster.
Yeah, it was a nice starter off the line-out. They brought Werner Koch in using McCloskey as a decoy, and then what they managed to do, they managed to get 3 or 4 of their big ball carriers. There is a Izuchukwu, to Scott Wilson, all carrying, getting over the gain line, and then unfortunately as they came back against the grain, Rob Herring got turned over. But bit of mistake, missing touch by the Sharks.
Here comes Stockdale on the charge, doing what he likes to do. I remember him playing for Wallace High School years ago in the Schools Cup final against Methodist College, and I reckon this is a player who's going to go places. Good switch by Doak. Murphy with a little chip that could bounce handily for Ulster, and alas, it's not. And all the way back goes Aphelele Fassi, the 27-year-old, one of many South African internationals, and all of them good players, not just 1 or 2 caps, a lot of them multiple caps.
Yeah, especially in the backline, Jim, they're electric, and it's watching them last week when they're late win at Edinburgh. They're going to play till late, and also just need to be aware that they don't give the likes of Fassi and Mapimpi those spaces late in the game. But that's a great option by Jack Murphy there, Jim, just to try and force the Sharks back. Even the fact that it hasn't gone out sometimes isn't as bad an outcome as a ball going out, because now it's a goal line dropout. Ulster are most likely going to try and run it back through McNabney standing midfield. You'd imagine Stockdale will fit into him. And then what do we see off that? You see Ireland with their trick plays, whether they get guys running back in against the green near the ruck. You'd imagine also will have a plan set that if they get an early goal line dropout, they're going to try and run. So look for a Zach Ward coming in off his wing, or a trick play some sort.
World Cup winning hooker Bongi Bonambi seems to be fine again. Jordan Hendrikse, gathered in by Ward, offloads it now to James McNabney, playing number 8 this evening. Doak, lovely flat pass by Murphy. Scott Wilson very nearly got away, and he did get the ball away off the ground. Here goes Stockdale, looking for a little bit of space. He's got McCloskey with him. He perhaps needed to give that, but they're very close. McCloskey into support. Doak changes his mind. Izuchukwu gets it away, and it's another try for the young outside half, Jack Murphy. That's his second league try of the season, and that was a gem. And you say to yourself, why wasn't Jacob Stockdale picked at 15 long before tonight?
Yeah, Jim, that's a great line break. It starts with a good carry by McNabney. It almost looked like Ulster a little bit disorganised, but a good carry. Scott Wilson uses his feet, and then Stockdale sweeping round. And as you said, it looked like perhaps he could have passed early to McCloskey, but no panic in that Ulster team. They just took the time. Great work rate by Izuchukwu, getting round the corner, and again then Ulster just with Jack Murphy just taking on the last 2-on-1. So brilliant work by Ulster, absolutely clinical on a night like this is what they're going to have to do, take any opportunity, and a great settler for them tonight. And
a wonderful spiral by Cormac Izuchukwu to protect the man who was going to receive the ball and make sure the pass was spot on. So having scored the try, that's not going to come in, unfortunately, but Ulster will not complain about that start. It was a wonderfully constructed try, a great run by the man himself, Jacob Stockdale, and a fine little final slip pass from Izuchukwu to Murphy.
Absolutely, Jim, and I think you look at this Ulster team and they've got 4, 5, 6 really good ball carriers in the backs and the forwards, and the key is that Ulster set themselves up that these destructive runners like a McCloskey, a Stockdale, Izuchukwu, they're the guys getting hand on ball to get over the game line.
Jordan Hendrikse restarts, knocked forward by Ulster, but referee's playing advantage. Oxnache goes to ground. Vincent Shituka took it on. The enormous Andre Esterhuizen, who's about a second row forward size. Sharks hoping to respond straight away. Good tackling once again by Manu Shituka, wearing number 7. Hendrikse. Good little offload. It's gone loose. Can also capitalise. That's a good kick. And here comes Zach Ward. I think Zach Ward's got the legs of his man. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get the ball, but now he's got it away. And it's going to be another Ulster try. And it's going to be Jude Postlethwaite. Not quite behind the sticks, but that will certainly do. And in the space of 2 minutes, Ulster have crossed the Sharks line twice.
Brilliant by Ulster, Jim, and it comes from brilliant defence by Ulster in these wider channels. Werner gets bumped initially, but his work rate to get back in and make a second, third attempt, and then to try and counter ruck at ruck time. And then just together they get off the line really well. They don't bite in. Pressure, I think it's Jude Postlethwaite along with Rob Herring. Nathan Doak does the right thing, boot the ball, and the pace of Zach Ward, which is very unfortunate with the bounce. But see a Kolisi, reminiscent of the game against Bordeaux for the Sharks, whenever the ball just pops up. Pinot got in this time. It's for Ulster. It's Jude Postlethwaite following up, and great work, great defence and hunger from this Ulster team.
Well, Ulster putting the foot down to the middle. Zach Ward showing his opponent a clean pair of heels. His kicking wasn't great, but the ball has come back on the Ulster side, and the conversion has been added by Jack Murphy. And Ulster, can you believe this? What have we played? About 10 minutes, and Ulster leading by 12 points to 0.
It's been a brilliant start, Jim. It's what we talk about. Sometimes Ulster have been slightly slow to start in games we've watched all season, but this week they've got out really aggressive in defence. They've got off the line. They've made a lot of tackles. The Sharks have come here to try and play a little bit of ball, but Ulster's defence has forced them into a few mistakes. The key is now Ulster don't stop playing, keep playing, and just get exit first.
So here we go again. Kick off by Hendrikse. Gathered in by Ulster.
Use it!
But the sun is hard to play into. Taken on by James McNabney.
Yep.
Starting for the 5th time at number 8. Also plays 6 quite happily. Back to Doak. Has he found his touch? Oh, he has. That's the gem. Good cover by Aphelele. Fassi, but Doak's kicking thus far has been pretty hot.
It's been really good, Jim. What it's doing is he's getting plenty of distance, but also by putting it off the pitch, it means that they're taking away the opportunity for the Sharks to counter-attack with their dangerous back three. Coming defence from set piece is the easiest way to defend, and with the Ulster line-out, it means that they've got plenty of numbers on their feet, and hopefully then they should be in a good position to try and nullify the Sharks' attack.
A bit of a breeze just picking up, coming into the Ulster faces. Ulster will be looking to challenge this line-out, and they've done not a bad job. And away goes Rob Herring, bundling round the back of that line-out and then going to the touchline. Doak, a little bit of trouble getting it away. That was a poorish pass. And back goes Murphy. What's he going to do? Probably does the sensible thing and goes to ground, waits for his forwards to come and support him, and they're doing just that. Again, it's McNabney.
Use it.
Dan Whitehouse telling Ulster to use it, and Doak will do just that. Can't put it straight into touch, mind you, from there. But he's put plenty of height in that. That's a perler. And well taken back by the visitors. Andy Warwick putting in the tackle. Kolisi's all over the ball, but the referee's happy enough. Up to Vincent Cock, who won just about everything at club level when he was with Saracens, now back in his native South Africa. Another double World Cup winner. Jaden Hendrikse. Well taken by Stockdale. Managed to get a little bit of yardage out of it as well on the charge. The men in black up very quickly into the faces of the men in white. Doak has got plenty, just about everybody in the park except Jude Postlethwaite's out on that left-hand side. So no room for error. You can't afford to lose it. That's a nice little pass. Well away by Ulster. This is good stuff, but it was forward, and that might have been try number 3, except for that fine little forward pass. Ulster playing with great energy and exuberism.
Yeah, they are, Jim. And you said it best yourself there just a minute ago. Came from a bad pass, and Jack Murphy could very easily have tried to force it. Did well, took the ruck. Ulster then played off it, and Nathan Doak put up a lovely kick. And I think it's finding that balance of continuing to play like that and not compounding error on error. So great game management from Ulster so far. just very unfortunate that went forward, but it's really nice, as you say, to see the ambition to go out there and play and try and beat the Sharks by playing good rugby and not just trying to beat them by not losing the game.
12 minutes gone, 12-0 to Ulster. First scrum of the game. Somebody's down getting a wee bit of a treatment. It's the Sharks. That looks a bit sore. Seems to be fine. That's good to see. You don't like to see anybody getting injured.
Yeah, really happy.
Lukhanyo Chi Murphy will be delighted thus far, I think, with the performance of his men.
Yeah, definitely, Tim. I think it's very easy to come in, and we were talking pre-game about the number of Springboks, current Springboks playing World Cup winners. And then also whenever you know it's the guy's last game here at home, sometimes that emotion, you come out and you're a little bit flat. But I think what's happened is Ulster have done really well in terms of getting involved, getting into the game really aggressively in defence. They've been really working very hard for each other, and they've got a couple of lucky breaks. And from that, the energy's built and the confidence is built.
Stays at 12-0 for the rest of the game. Ulster will not complain.
No, absolutely not. It'd be a nice final result considering the results of the other games this weekend.
Ulster, believe it or not, actually heavier than the Sharks. Of course, they were missing the 19 stones out of Eben Esterbet.
I'll go that way.
Two tough front rows.
Bind!
Rob Herring now the only international in the Ulster front row. They lost Tom O'Toole. That is not a bad Ulster scrum. The Sharks will try and get a squeeze on it. Ulster dug in well. Look at Scott Wilson's back, and Ulster get the secondary shove. And that is nothing short of magnificent by Ulster. And Jaden Hendrikse in all sorts of trouble. His number 8 didn't do him any favours, and Ulster steamrolled the boys from Durban. That was unbelievable. I think the Sharks' confidence will have been rattled by that. They looked to have that scrum well in control, and they didn't get it away quickly enough. And Ulster capitalised. Hendrikse puts it high up in the air. Underneath it is Ward, well taken by big Zach Ward. Doak. Good drive by the Ulster forward as Izuchukwu goes in to clear out.
Stay back, White. Stay
back to Murphy.
Captain. Now you're on.
That's going to come down nastily for Fassi, but he takes it well. Now he is seriously quick, and they can't allow him any room, and they have. Doak just couldn't quite get to him.
No, he moved out of the way.
But the Sharks back on their own 10-metre line. Oxnache. This is good stuff. Etzebeth, who's huge. Good covering by James Venter, the blindside flanker. And Ulster have pinched that one, and they've still got it. And the Sharks have to get themselves back on side. Werner Koch goes in. Izuchukwu to Murphy. Moves it wide. Gets nicely done. There's a half chance here. And here they go. And here's Zach Ward. He's got it out wide. And here goes Nick Timoney, who can run like a 1 3/4. Another 7 specialist. Timoney over the 10-metre line. Now it's Doak. Ulster on the charge. Lovely dummy. Doak gets it away. Nicely done. Izuchukwu, second or third time in this movement. Oh, and Ulster concede the penalty coming in at an angle. Unfortunately, it might have been the skipper himself, Alan O'Connor.
Yeah, I think we could just see here, unfortunately, the timing from Werner Koch. Just missed Kolisi coming in at the well, not in the side, but a fair turnover. Great turnover here by Jacob Stockdale. I think Ulster did very well to scramble, and then just the momentum is very good here. I think if Ulster could have gone back down the blind side, they had a bit of an overlap, but unfortunately, Al O'Connor, just as he spins out, Koch loses his feet, and then Kolisi, so experienced, gets in there and falls nicely to make it look like he was on the ball. But Jim, the crowd, when was the last time you heard a crowd like this whenever we saw that scrum being turned over by Ulster or putting huge pressure, and all of a sudden you saw the energy and the energy of the Ulster team just lift as well.
I remember being somewhere unmentionable in Dublin many years ago. A journalist friend of mine said in front of me and a friend that scrum was only the means of starting the game, and I said to this chap, have you met Ray McLaughlin? Ray raised a cynical eyebrow.
No.
Jacob Stockdale getting a wee bit more treatment. I think he's done something to his finger. Sometimes it was dislocated. Have you ever had dislocated finger and the medics have just pulled it back into shape and taped it up?
Once or twice, just a small little finger, but nothing too major. But Jacob looks like he's a renewed energy, Jim, here playing at fullback. He's got his hands on the ball 2 or 3 times. He's getting really stuck in at the breakdown. And I think this Ulster team, you can just look at it and love the energy and enthusiasm they're all playing with. It looks as if they've been given the license to play, because and play heads up. Just there we saw Ward and Timoney breaking down the left and the turnover, and In the past, Ulster's first ambition or first thought process might have been to kick it, but here he just saw the space, good communication and taking the edge where the space was on.
Ethan Hooker and referee Ben Whitehouse having a little chat. So everybody seems to be fine. Jacob Stockdale has taken up his position near the Ulster try line. Let's hope he's not required to man it at the end. McNabney with the throw. Cock at the back. Pinched by Ulster, that's nicely done. Doak decides to kick. Now that could bounce handily. Either way, it's going to be gathered in, and this is Hooker.
Keep retreating. Keep retreating.
Down the line, kept down by Ulster. Doak to Murphy. Murphy to the heavens. Clever kick. Good chase. Oh, that's spilled forward initially by
first. And I think there was a second.
Hendrikse, and that's going to be an Ulster scrum. First 16 minutes of this game are as good an opening 16 as I've seen from Ulster this season, and let's hope it continues.
Yeah, Jim, the game management, the intensity they've played at has been excellent, and it's about how do they keep doing this. It's keep this game flowing. Don't let the Sharks try and slow it down, take it from set piece to set piece. Also got the crowd behind them. You can see the players are really enjoying themselves. And it is, what do they do now? They've got a 12-point lead. Do they really go and try and pull the trigger with the wraparound play, or do they use McCloskey and Postlethwaite to lay the line? So this is a big decision for Ulster now. You imagine they're going to go 8-9 into McCloskey's hands and then make a decision off that.
Not too many empty seats either.
No, it's great to see. It's whenever just 10 minutes before kickoff it looked quite empty, but all of a sudden everybody's filled in. Lovely evening, last home game against a bunch of superstars. It's a great recipe for a nice evening.
Great position for Ulster. Chance on the narrow side. Stockdale has come into the open side here. Ulster get the squeeze in the scrum. Doak to the narrow side. Here's Murphy. Little chip kick through. Hasn't quite made it. And this could be costly for Ulster. All the way back goes Stuart McCloskey. Big and strong up to halfway. Doak gets it away. Izuchukwu. What a sidestep by Big Izzy. Up to halfway.
Use it.
Warwick and McNabney go in just to make it easier for Doak to get a little platform. And again, Doak's kicking is pretty decent. Good chase by Ward. That's well gathered in, though, on the far side by Hendrikse. Ethan Hooker up to the 10-metre line of his own side. Jaden Hendrikse again digs it out.
I think they're on.
Into Oxenche. Runs into the Cape Tonian originally, Rob Herring.
Stop inside, men.
That's gone high. Here's Werner Koch. Knocks it backwards. Postlethwaite. Back inside to Stockdale, who's playing out of his socks at the moment. Nicely laid off by Stockdale. Murphy. Lovely pass to Izuchukwu. Has a go. Needs a little bit of help. Has to spiral on himself. Doak. Right-footed for territory. And what a good kick that is. That will give his forwards huge confidence, because your forwards want the outside half or the scrum half to control the game and give you the platform.
Yeah, great work by Nathan Doak. He's done very well there just to spin out. He had a quick look to see if it was on, realised it wasn't, and just by forcing it back, Ulster have put the Sharks line under huge pressure. And you're kind of thinking worst case scenario for Ulster right now is they're going to kick it and also hopefully get the ball back just inside their own half. But key for Ulster when they're kicking is if it's in to compete, it has to be short enough that Ulster can get up and compete. Otherwise, you're giving the Sharks an easy opportunity to come back at you in the counter.
Almost a quarter of the game gone. 12-0 to the home side, who desperately need this win.
2, Rob, 2.
Well won. Oxenche, built like the proverbial brick outhouse.
Use it.
Kolisi, double World Cup winning captain, something only the great Richie McCaw of New Zealand has done, and that's going to go into touch. We fumbled by Werner Koch. Nice to see him back playing again, isn't it?
It is. He adds that real physicality and energy in the outside channels that Ulster sometimes would maybe lack, being sometimes a smaller back three, but with himself, Ward and Stockdale in the back three, Jim, we were talking off air what a massive back line Ulster have out this evening.
Use the line, Ulster.
So it's all about these boys, the throw and the catch and the lift, and that's nicely done. Quickly away by O'Connor. Postlethwaite takes a charge up the middle. Ulster still inside their own half. Doak digs it out. That's nicely done. That was really good stuff by Ulster. Doak interfered with, he got it away nicely as the Izuchukwu. And he's still going. Doak thought about the blind side, changed his mind. Here come Ulster yet again. This is good stuff by Ulster. Scotty Wilson. Well taken away. That's lovely stuff. Stockdale, that's his trademark, kick and chase. Where's the ball going to bounce? It's going to go across the try line. It's not, you know. And that's been well cleared. Murphy on halfway. Now, what can young Jack do? That's a clever pass. Postlethwaite, his men outside him. There's a little chip for Izuchukwu to chase. Maybe not quite got the speed of Ward, but he's chased his man down. And the Sharks in a wee bit of trouble here, but they've got the ball. Jaden Hendrikse runs back rather slowly. Taken on by the enormous Jaden Jenkins, who's nearly as big as Esterhuizen, 6 feet, just half an inch short. Back to Hendrikse again. And he's got that away, and that was a hugely important clearance for the Sharks, who were under a fierce lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's brilliant play by Ulster, Jim. They're not getting bored of just having a few phases, having a dabble, and then when it's not on, just try and put it in behind. The Sharks did brilliantly. I think was it Fassi just to clear down in front of us here on the left-hand side, but also then continuing to put the pressure on. And you can see the Sharks, they're walking to breakdowns. They've now decided to kick the ball out instead of kicking to compete. They're walking. If Ulster can try and keep this tempo up, we're halfway through the first half, keep this tempo up and try and put another score on the board just while they've got a little bit of momentum.
John Plumtree not giving very much away. Stolen by Ulster. Doak brings it in field now to Stockdale. He has a wee go himself, a little mazy run down the far wing. Rob Herring puts boot the ball. That's a nasty bounce for Ethan Hooker. And Ethan Hooker's nabbed by Nathan Doak and a couple of the Ulster forwards. Stuart McCloskey's in there, and we talked about the penalty. And Ulster put on more pressure, and they've got the penalty. And will they kick or will they go to the corner now?
Oh, Jim, that's a good question. I think for me, if you can try and take the score to be on 2 converted tries, I'd be going for 15. But again, momentum's a massive part of this game. Ulster maybe believe playing against this Shark, they need to put points on the board, and they're going to decide to go to the corner. So hopefully with their maul that they've had success with this evening, they continue to drive this deep and perhaps get another 7 points.
Oh, Murphy's kept it low. That was a lovely angle to it. Didn't want to go too high or indeed too low, but he's got it to within about 12 metres of the Sharks line. 23 minutes gone. Ulster leading by 12 points to 0. 2 tries, one by Jack Murphy, one by Jude Postlethwaite. Andy Warwick at the front. That's nicely done right at the front of the line out. That's good work by Ulster. And there's Matty Ray's got in now. It's a bit of an ask for Ulster to try and turn over from here. So the referee may instruct them to play it, and they're still going forward. And Rob Herring, who frequently scores from this sort of position, has set it up nicely. And again, it's Ulster's back row making ground, and it's still there. And that's maybe pinched by the Sharks. And that was a very good steal. Ulster just lost possession, and the Sharks pounced. Hendrikse tries to get it away to give a better angle for his clearance kicker, who's his baby brother behind him.
Use it.
Scott Wilson stands and watches. Likewise, McNabney. And that's been well cleared by the Sharks, and they were desperate to get that ball away in.
They were, Jim. As you said, the line out probably just too far to try and get that maul over the line. And as Rob Herring broke out, it was another great attacking line by Ulster, but just unfortunately the ball just spilled out. I'm not sure what we're looking at the replay here for. Whether
Izuchukwu got hurt. He got a bang in the face. I don't know whether there was anything illegal in it. It might have been just what they call a rugby contact. There he goes. And down he goes, and at some stage he made contact with some part of one of the opposition, maybe an elbow or a knee. I don't think there was anything in it in terms of an offence, unless maybe coming in from the side was Jason Jenkins.
I've just seen
he showed him how just to go in. I think he wants to have a little look at it.
Yeah, I think he's having a check, or he's having a chat with his TMO, and perhaps we can hear what he's going to say to Alan O'Connor now.
We've just cleared it. There's a small bit of head contact, but it's a rugby incident. There's no foul play. Okay, thank you.
Well, Ben Whitehouse, I'm glad to say, agrees with me for once. It's a rugby head contact, a rugby injury, so nothing wrong. And Izzy's fine. 25 minutes almost gone. 12-0 to Ulster. My word, they played out of their socks this game.
Yeah, Jim, I don't think it's a scoreline that would be considered any kind of luck or undeserved. I think Ulster really have dominated this game. they've managed the game very well between Nathan Doak and Jack Murphy.
No, I didn't see
They
it.
played the ball in the right areas. Ulster's set piece has been very strong. Hopefully this line out coming up continues that way, but they've also put pressure on the Sharks and forced the Sharks to kick out and not be able to get out of their own half. So the key is, while you've got that little bit of pressure, while you have that territory dominance, can they get more points on the board? And hence why perhaps we were talking they could have considered going for 3 points.
It's like a bit of a bicep or a tricep problem for the redoubtable Vincent Cock. What a player he's been down the years, and all those years playing under Ulster's Mark McCall at Saracens.
Yeah, phenomenal. He went to Sarries sort of, I wouldn't say unknown obviously as a Springbok, but from Sarries that's where his profile grew, and part of such a dominant Saracens team. And obviously going back to the Sharks, you kind of wonder, is he going back there as an older player, but continue to play international rugby and do very well for the Sharks.
Here's another man. 43 Irish caps. That's the first awry line out. A chance now for the Sharks. They have a bit of an overlap, but Etzebeth decides to kick and Stockdale decides to cover, and Stockdale decides to have a go.
Leave space.
He's given that plenty of height, hasn't he? Now can he catch? Knocked backward. He gets it at the second bite. Here goes Jacob Stockdale once again. What a game he's having. Doak under a lot of pressure there from the marauding Sharks forwards, and it's been spilled forward, I think, initially. Might have
So it
been
was a knock on from White.
Ulster knocked it
the
forward,
Sharks
yeah.
player, then went
I
back
think it was
that way, okay?
when Jacob went up to try and
first knock
regather
on.
his kick, I think it went off him, then onto Fassi, and then back to Stockdale just there. So I think that's what the referee Whitehouse has brought them back for. Great ambition from Jacob to get up and compete and not just kick the ball away. So also just need to be careful, Jim, there in the midfield, that they don't get isolated and wait. Nathan Doak goes in to clear it out. One of the forwards then need to be reactive to try and get there and get the ball away.
Yeah, the Sharks looked as if they had something of an overlap running out from the 22, but Esterhuizen decided to kick it.
Crouch. Bind.
Jaden Hendrikse to put this in.
Set.
This will have the edge in the scrums. It's better by Oxenshea putting Scott Wilson under pressure. Referee not happy with that, but really nobody at fault.
Really good contest this
so
side,
much
but
of
I've
it
just seen his
is just about concentrating. It's not just bulk or anything like that. You've got to get it right. A scrum's like a movable machine. If all 8 parts are working in harmony, then you've got 100% efficiency.
You're saying he's offside?
Well, you'll know a little bit more about the scrums than I do, Jim, but but no, that's where I think the word you just used there, the concentration's massive for Ulster here. That we've seen that the first couple of scrums have been really solid. It's important here that they manage to hold out.
And remember, Scott Wilson just 21 years of age up against Oxenshea, who's 29, who's played in 2 World Cups.
Come on, boys, we've had a really good contest.
It's a great learning experience, the likes of a Wilson playing against Shea, and that's probably one of the massive benefits of having the South African teams in the URC, Jim, that we're getting exposure to those World Cup winning Southern Hemisphere forwards, in essence.
Bind!
It's great to see world-class players coming in. And it goes, and Shea trying to get the squeeze on, and Wilson's nailed him down. Good scrum by Wilson. Hendrikse to the near side. Esterhuizen gets it wide. This is danger for Ulster. Little chip and chase. Well gathered in. But Mapimpi and Stockdale once again has made ground for Ulster, and Stockdale has set it up. Doak gets it away to Izuchukwu. Careers through the first tackle. Still there for Ulster.
Use it. Stay on side.
Matty Ray and McNabney set it up for Doak to kick. This curled back in field. What a good kick. Werner Koch, did he get a hand to it and knock it forwards? But it was knocked into touch. Referee said play on, and they have taken their quick option. And Stockdale must be aware that his opposite number, Aphelele Fassi, is breathing down his neck. He's got Ward outside, and Stockdale thumps it. That's a very good kick. My word, another 5 or 6 meters less, and that was straight into the hands of a Natal Sharks player.
Yeah, Jim, the heart was in the mouth there. Stockdale was sort of getting back, and then he decides, I thought he was going to try and have a counter-attack with Zach Ward. Then under the pressure of Fassi, gets it away, and you can just see him watching to see whether it's going to land in Am's hand, who would have had a 50-metre run in. Fortunately, he got enough on it, and it's bouncing the touch, and now Ulster get into position to defend on their set.
Yeah, Jacob, like that, he would say never in doubt.
But it's great to see, Jim, this ambition. The back three, I was a wee bit concerned pre-game with the back three of Ward, Cock and Stockdale working together, but they've worked really well in that pendulum system. Cock came up closing the gap really well. I think when it was on Esterhuizen and who was Mapimpi down this left-hand side from the scrum. But as the ball went through, Stockdale was waiting there for it. So great work off the ball by Jacob to work from one side to the other. And the advantage for the Sharks having the left foot of Esterhuizen is that it meant that it keeps both sides of the pitch open. But great work by the Ulster back three to cover the backfield again.
Well, the line-out to the Sharks, and this actually is the closest they've got to the Ulster try line. They're not inside the 22, but they've made a wee bit of progress. Ulster haven't scored since the 9th minute, so we're coming up nearly 20 minutes since Ulster got their second try, and the Sharks have the ball. And that man at the back of the line was Kolisi. Fascinating life story. McNabney. Izuchukwu tries to pinch this. Very nearly did. Now they get it away. Kolisi takes it through the middle. My word, he's a great player still. Moved wide. Good defending by Ulster, on by Werner Cock. Ulster trying to counter ruck, and they've done that. What a steal by Ulster. Alan O'Connor had Andy Warwick, his pal, outside him. Didn't get the pass away. In goes McNabney, wearing number 8 for Ulster. Good chance now for Ulster. Good pass. Here goes Stockdale. He's got Cock outside him. Can he give it to Cock? No, he's just out to kick. And Doak is inside him. Stockdale gathers, gives it to Doak. Doak scoring at Ulster's 3rd try of the evening. And that is the best of all of them. From their own 22 to the far goal line. From the Aquinas end to the War Memorial end. And they're going nuts here at Ravenhill.
Yeah, Jim, what a try from Ulster. Starting with the turnover by the forwards. Doing so well. Rob Herring identifying that the opportunity, and then Stockdale. We wondered, should he have given the Cock? Well, how many times have we seen Jacob Stockdale chip and chase? And as a great scrum half does, Nathan Doak trailing in the inside, and you can see the joy in the face as he's going over the line. And what a counter attack by Ulster, Jim. And again, it's that ambition. They could easily have turned over and just kicked it down the pitch, but identification of an overlap down the blind side, and the execution by Ulster, the handling and the kick and the skill set. Fantastic score.
What you're going to say about Jacob Stockdale? Where has he been all his life? Murphy with the extra 2 points. And this is a scoreline even probably the most wildly ambitious Ulster supporters would not have anticipated. What a catch it was by Stockdale, and a clever little offload, and Doak following up a la Ruan Pinar and John Cooney. That's what they used to do.
Indeed, Jim. It's brilliant. You can just see when a team's on with the energy they have, the way they flood through in support lines, the way you identify an opportunity to counter ruck. Ulster have just been firing on all cylinders this evening, and the key is get into half-time and don't let the Sharks back into the game.
Jordan Hendrikse probably hadn't anticipated restarting for the 3rd time after an opposition try. Taken in by Ulster, who just go to ground. That was Jude Postlethwaite, just outside his 22. Doak. Ulster just take their time. Matty Ray saying, come on.
Leave his leg, leave!
Warwick into help.
I've seen it.
They've set it up very nicely for Ulster because he was inside his 22. He could kick directly into touch. Taken quickly now by the Sharks. Jordan Hendrikse gets himself into a little bit of trouble. Now they've come away with it. Still inside their own half. Jaden Hendrikse. Esterhuizen with that left foot of his. Stockdale bounces kind. And he's walloped it left-footed.
Retreat.
Fassi gathers. Esterhuizen outside him. Here goes Fassi. Doesn't need him at the minute. Good tackle by McNabney for Ulster. Ball back on the Shark side. Oxnard up to the 10-metre line of Ulster. Hendrikse out to Kolisi, the skipper. Here he goes. Great sense of acceleration as well. Good tackle by Postlethwaite. Ulster told to get back on side. And Che offloads. This is better stuff from the Sharks. Nick Timoney is in there. Managed to knock it forward. Very nearly pinched it though. Good driving forward by James Fenter, the blindside flanker. Jaden Hendrikse gets it out wide.
No, you've pulled out. You've pulled out. Stop. Bring us on.
That's a bit of a teaser. spilled forward by Stockdale. Esterhuizen, what Ulster don't want to do is concede a try before the interval.
Advantage over.
Hendrikse to Hendrikse. Moved out wide to Vincent. She took out very nearly Ulster's line. Breach there for the first time this evening.
It was not part of the ruck for me.
James Fenter gets it away. Oxna Che. Nice hands by the chunky prop. Away they go again. This is good stuff now. Here comes Jason Jenkins, who's enormous. Very nearly going to the line himself. He's knocked it backwards. Was it spilled forward? All they've got to do is stretch one arm's length and they're in. Hendrikse moves it wide. And there's a great chance here. It's going to be a try. And it's Makazole Mapimpi, the man who got the winner last week. And I think we'll have to go back. I'm not sure that try is going to be given.
I think, Jim, it's going to be a yellow card for Stockdale. The referee saying it was a slap down.
To see if there actually is offside line.
And then also, I think the referee saying about an offside.
So we'll just double
he's
check.
going for a TMO here. There's a multitude of things to look at, and hopefully for Ulster it's not a double whammy of a yellow card on a try.
Is onside.
Would it be a penalty try?
He slaps it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to be. I mean, if he's saying that Stockdale's offside and slapped it back, I think, or sorry, slapped it down. To me, it looked like Stockdale tried to knock it back. I think we're going to see here. But there's also no ruck potentially either, which has got to be.
He was coming in from an offside position and he played the ball. I don't think he knocked it down, but he knocked it backward out of the way of the Sharks players. But the Sharks have responded as we knew they would. Lovely wide pass, plenty of room on it, and not a problem for Makazole and Pimpi, assuming the try is given. I think the try will be given. It's the sanction that may be administered to Jacob
regardless
Stockdale.
Whether it goes forwards or backwards, he's offside, he slaps the ball down. It's cynical. It's going to be a yellow card, and the try is good. 15th.
The try is good, says the referee. It was cynical by Jacob Stockdale, despite the protestations of Alan O'Connor, Ulster's skipper.
Offside,
so Ulster down to 14, and they conceded their first points of this game with just 6 minutes and a wee bit to go.
Yeah, hugely disappointing. Listening to Alan O'Connor, that was my first instinct, was it was still open play since there weren't enough players to make it a ruck, but happily be corrected. Obviously the referee knows his rules, so disappointing for Ulster to all of a sudden concede 5 points and a yellow card, and could be hugely important in this run up just before half time. Ulster need to make sure it doesn't rattle them too much and they manage to get themselves back down to the other end of the pitch.
Claudius is saying not happy about giving Jacob Stockdale a big round of applause. We won't see him again this half. This is Jordan Hendrikse, who wasn't in his best kicking form last week against Edinburgh, and he's pushed that one past as well. So he missed 4 out of 6, I think, in Edinburgh, and he's missed 1 out of 1 here. So 6 minutes to go. Ulster's lead reduced to 14 points. So to win this game, the Stormers are going to have to score more than 2 tries.
Yeah, Ulster will be very frustrated with that, Jim. They were defending really well and then just lost a little bit of a kick battle, and unfortunately for them, the Sharks and obviously Hendrikse are doing really well to spot the overlap there. They threw that long wide pass, but Ulster now just need to manage the last 5.5 minutes before half-time. Do not let the Sharks get back into this game.
Murphy, it's not a bad kick at all. Cock is chasing and he jumps, and that's gone loose, and Cock knocks it backwards, and here goes McCloskey. Gathered it in, good sweep by McCloskey. Rob Herring has it go himself, wasn't too far away from making the break. Now Andy Warwick, head down, good drive by the chunky Ballymena prop forward. Cousin of the great motorcyclist Johnny Reyes, if you didn't know. Here's Nick Timoney. Doak. Alan O'Connor, Ulster's captain, cross about the dismissal of Jacob Stockdale. Doak to the near side. Murphy pops it back up to Werner Koch, who runs into some of his former teammates and bounces off them. Great ground made by Koch. Ulster on the front foot. This is great stuff by the boys in white trying to respond. That maybe should have been allowed to go, but Ulster still have the possession. A penalty here would even do them rightly, and they've given away the penalty. And surely there was a... James Venter had got himself in an offside position. Nick Timoney not at all happy with Mr. Whitehouse about that one either.
Yeah, I think Ulster just lost a little bit of the missed touch here, so an opportunity for Ulster again to counter.
Matty Ray goes back and has a go himself. Well taken out by Jordan Hendrikse around the ankles. Doak kicks cleverly, and here goes McCloskey, but he won't need to worry because it's gone into touch. But at least Ulster keeping the lid on. 4 more minutes and a wee bit to go to the interval, and 19-5 would be pretty decent.
It wouldn't be, Jim, and great identification from Matthew Ray. Obviously no Jacob Stockdale with him sitting on the bench there. There was nobody in the backfield from that penalty, so carried well. Nathan Doak again, I think he's done really well this evening, Jim.
Let's go.
Just constantly trying to turn the Sharks by grubbering it down the line, running down the clock before half-time. This is really what Ulster need to do.
Line out is the Sharks line out. They've only got 3 men at the back and 1 at the front, who's James Venter. Izuchukwu looking to pick it off if he can again.
Take him back.
Well, 1.
Outside.
That was Vincent Shituka pressed into service in the second row. Position he's well used to.
Use it!
Because of the late loss by Evan Estebed, who had an upset tummy all week. Jaden Hendrikse. Werner Koch underneath it. Good jump and take by Koch, and he's spilled it backwards. But here goes Izuchukwu. Now what's he going to do? He's just going to do what he does best, and that's drive forward. He's been well tackled though by Vincent Shituka.
Knee on the ground.
Ball back on the Ulster side. Doak might think about the kick into this near corner. Nope. But Murphy will. Well, he's lofted that. Zach Ward's underneath it.
Knock on.
Was that knocked forward by Ward? Yes, it was. Dear, oh dear. That could have been a bonus point try, but for that knock forward.
Yeah, good identification from Jack Murphy to realise that there was nothing on. Zach Ward does really well to get up there. Just unfortunate that it goes forward. But again, Ulster won't mind this, Jim, that as they're obviously down to 14 men coming up to half-time, it's just a few more seconds are ticking off, a few more moments of the sin bin, and just trying to get back in. 19-5, they'll be disappointed if concede that try, but at the same time, if you'd offered them 19-5 before the game started to be a half-time scoreline, they'd have absolutely taken it. So key is now, obviously, they're going to be missing somebody in the backfield, so they can't afford to go too aggressively in defence here off a set piece, otherwise they're going to get picked apart out wide or in the backfield.
Vincent Koch is getting a little bit of treatment to that left arm of his, which if you're a prop forward have to bind in your hook over that left arm, you're not going to be very happy. There's 2 great men in South African rugby, multiple World Cup winners between them, Ox and Shane. Let's go Ulster. Well, they certainly have gone this evening. They've gone and taken a big step towards trying to secure European Champions Cup rugby next year. Vincent Koch, I'm delighted to say, is fine again. Anybody who flies his trade as successfully for as long as him in the front row deserves of admiration. But the South Africans have always produced stunningly wonderful prop forwards.
And we obviously are well aware of BJ Booth, Jim, who's here for a number of years, and I think he probably brought the professionalism and brought Ulster to a new level when he arrived in about 2010.
And Robbie Kempson before that. He was a scary man. I always got the impression that Robbie Kempson liked to hurt people. But a nice chap. Still with 2 minutes remaining. Ulster still down to 14. But that's a good Ulster scrum. Hendrikse, who's it wide to the huge Esterhuizen. Here's the Hendrikse back again. This is good stuff. This is typical Sharks. Got a chance to get it outside. And away goes Ethan Hooker, and he's seriously quick. And Ulster got back across again. And Stuart McCloskey, I think, has pinched that for Ulster. What a steal that was by Big Stu. And Ulster are driving forward, and they push the Springboks pack off the ball. And listen to the roar that's coming from that far side. Izuchukwu, who's been outstanding again this evening. Doak just barking instructions at somebody outside him. In goes Scott Wilson, his fellow Wallace High School pupil. Doak again needs to find his touch. Oh, that's a good kick by Nathan Doak. No angle at all, and he put it straight down that line on the far side.
Yeah, Jim, and he's done incredibly well to get anywhere near halfway. I was sitting here just going, make sure it was in the touch, because otherwise the Sharks had a massive opportunity to counter-attack with Ulster being so tight. So brilliant work again by Nathan Doak. I think you've got to really credit himself and Jack Murphy, how they've moved this Ulster team around the pitch this evening with their kicking. And then the physicality from Ulster in defence, Jim, has been fantastic. Again, another big turnover, I think, with McCloskey in the counter-ruck, sorry.
Into the final minute of what's been a pulsating first half at Ravenhill. Bongi Monambe. Esterhuizen runs into the equally large Jude Postlethwaite. Sharks will be looking to close the gap, and that's the danger. The first tackle has been missed on Lukhanyo, and he's got into Ulster's 10-metre area. Men on this side. Ethan Hooker's come round from the left. This is great stuff, and here they go again. That's a lovely transfer. There's going to be a second try from Mapimpi, and just what Ulster didn't need. Down to 14 men, and all of a sudden that lead has gone from 19-0 to 19-5, and now 19-10 with the possibility of 19-12. But what a well-worked try, and Ulster's short because Jacob Stockdale wasn't that, and they identified the fact that Ulster were a man down.
Yeah, Jim, brilliant attack by the Sharks. What they managed to do was just suck the defenders in, and just unfortunately Cock just jammed in when potentially didn't need to, and that put huge pressure. Esterhuizen does well. I thought Zach Ward had done just enough to sit off with Nick Timoney's inside, but unfortunately great finish, and it's an easy finish from Mapimpi from 10 out. So good play by the Sharks. I think they're having a look at a forward pass, but for me it all looked pretty decent and fair enough, and I don't think there'll be any issue here.
Well, the crowd think that last pass was a bit forward. I'd like to have another look at that, Ian. Not that I'm seeing things through Ulster tinted glasses, but was the final pass forward?
Yeah, it's forward.
You can't tell really from that angle because you've nothing to judge it by, but that could have been a bit on the iffy side.
Agreed.
And I think it's been given as a forward pass, and Ulster might just have got themselves off the hook. No try, forward pass, scrum to Ulster, 6 seconds to go, get it in, get it out.
Definitely, Jim, and I think a massive let-off for Ulster there. I think Jeepers, 9 times out of 10, that's an easy 2-on-1 put away, and the Sharks will be hugely frustrated that such an easy finish for them that they've let it get away. So, as you said, quick heel, don't mess about, and with only 5 seconds left, Jack Murphy stands straight behind it. I would like to see Werner Koch just here in the right in case the ball squirts out. But whatever they need to do, not even take one phase, get it out. Jack Murphy, run into his dead ball area and kick it into the stand.
And the Sharks will put as much pressure, in fact even more pressure than they've done already in these scrums on Ulster. Hugely important scrum this for Andy Warwick, Rob Herring and Scott Wilson, who's had a really good game against the formidable Oxnard chain. So for the last time in this half, Ulster face up to the might of the Sharks. Down they go. Watch this shove now from the Sharks. Doak pops it in. Nick Timoney into touch. Sensible thing to do by the very sensible Nick Timoney.
So that's probably their mindset.
Louis, Tommy, thank you very much. It's back to Ian and Jim. Let's hope for as an exciting a second half.
Well, amen to that, Stephen. Thanks to Tommy and Louis. What a first half we've had. Ulster perhaps a little bit fortunate not to have the gap closed, but to be very happy with 19-5 in a couple of minutes, and they'll be back to 15 men. One Jay Stockdale will be coming on again. When Jay Murphy gets the second half underway down, and that's been well taken in, and good chasing up though by Ulster. They want to keep the Sharks down here. James Fenter, the busy blindside flanker, not the biggest guy in the world, but very active, goes to ground. Hendrikse, the senior, Jaden, and finds a decent touch, but Ulster will have the line out. An early Ulster score will just hit the spot, Ian Humphries.
It would, Jim, and a little bit surprised that the Sharks decided just to kick that out while they have the man advantage. I thought the potential to try to keep the ball in play, lift the tempo, try and stretch Ulster. So Ulster will be pleased with this.
We're going to play, lads.
I think there's a Sharks player down in the backfield, but the referee says we're going to play on. Ulster will be content with this, Jim, just to run down another minute or two before they get Jacob back. So good start to Ulster, the kick-off, another good kick-off, and the key for Ulster now is try and get the next score, whether that's 3 points, whether to try.
Back you go.
The referee sent it back because they were preventing, I think, the line out from being taken. So now it's only a free kick, so you can't kick it directly into touch. And Jack Murphy may use the old-fashioned Munster Gary-O and pop it up in the air, and everybody in behind it roaring and shouting like madmen. Here they go. Well, Murphy's done his bit. That's a bit of a corker. Well taken in, though, on the far side by Aphelele Fassi, and he calls for, and as a word of the fair catch, he was under such a lot of pressure. That was a really good take by the Sharks fullback.
Yeah, Fassi's been very solid under the high ball. Even in Jim, a lot of the kicks from Ulster have been competitive, but he's won them all pretty comfortably.
Well, he hasn't found his touch now. Who's gathered this in? It's Murphy. He's got Ward with him, but he pops it up into the air again. And again it's Fassi, and this time he runs, gets away from the first tackle. Ward puts him to ground. Remember, Jacob Stockdale will be coming back on pretty soon, and not too soon for Ulster, I would say. That was Jordan Hendrikse. Good take by Jude Postlethwaite. Good angle, he's got away from the first tackler. Over his 10-metre line. Doak on the near side, Nick Timoney. Ball set up nicely. Sharks player threatening to get himself offside. Doak, Izuchukwu, what a great first half he had, carrying that ball. Doak again, back to Murphy. And again, he's given it plenty of loft. That's a great take and a great pass inside. And this is where they're at their most dangerous. Ulster cannot afford to allow them any room. Mapimpi sets it up. Hendrikse gets it away. Well taken on. Good defending by Ulster.
Stop.
Just counting the seconds for Stockdale to come back. Zach Ward underneath it. Good take, as if he had played full back all his life. Now where's he going? Straight is the answer, and he's still going. Gets outside his 10-metre line. Still inside their own half, though, Ulster. Penalty won by the boys on the ground. And Ulster could have done with that penalty, because you get the impression that the Sharks were just ramping up the ante a wee bit.
Yeah, very much so, Jim. A little bit fortunate, I thought, for a second. McNabney was on the ball, but also we're pleased now that'll be them back to 15. I think Jack Murphy just needs to be a little bit careful. These high balls aren't going a little bit too far. We saw last week in Leinster that one kick in particular went too far, and they countered and scored. Against this back three, you're just asking for trouble if you're kicking it just beyond your chasers.
Stake of Jacob Stockdale. Spooner is in there waiting to come back on, and on he comes and gets almost as big a round of applause as he did when he left the field. Scott Wilson getting a little bit of attention to his right hand or his right wrist.
So I just felt in the first half there was a lot of injuries for both sides, so we're just going to try and play on.
So Stockdale back.
If it's a scrum,
3 tries for Ulster in the first half, scored by Murphy, Postlethwaite and Doak, with 2 conversions from Murphy. For the Sharks, Makazole and Mapimpi very nearly got another one, had an opening for a very slight forward pass. Taken quickly at the front, and the referee didn't like it, and the crowd don't like the referee. He didn't hear a whistle blow, said it wasn't straight.
Yeah, I think obviously the new rule, it doesn't have to be straight, but if it's the first man or if there's a competition in the air, it means it has to be. So unfortunately, because the Sharks went up, if the referee's claiming it wasn't straight, then it has to go back.
But what you didn't realise when you were looking at me talking, he was walking towards the line out. So I was trying to tell Ox to move so he can go, and he refused to move.
He's just explaining why he penalised the Sharks, or gave the free against the Sharks on the other side of the field. The Sharks player refusing to move, and the referee told him to. First scrummage of the second half. Ulster haven't had a bad evening against the multi-Springboks. The Sharks have made a change in the front row. Tight head Vincent Cock has gone off. I think it's Fez Mabatha has come on.
Crouch!
In fact, it's Andrew Jacobs, I do believe. It says Andrew Jacobs, wearing number 18. Has he improved the scrum? Not really. Good squeeze by Ulster. Hendrikse to Esterhuizen, who's enormous. Makes decent ground. Jacobs to the narrow side. This is clever variation now. Taken on by the huge Jason Jenkins. Oxenshade just ambles in, as does Banambi.
Use it.
Jacobs. Oh, Ulster shouldn't have allowed that to happen. That was well taken in by Ethan Hooker. Sharks on the front foot. Oh, lovely break now by Esterhuizen, runs into Ulster's back row defence. Hendrikse to the narrow side, his brother outside him. Jaden to Jordan. Jaden again. Hanro throws it wildly back. Fassi, who's quick. Mapimpi, who's if possible even quicker. Good Ulster defending. They must not concede an early score at the start of the second half if they have any chance of winning this game and keeping on the path for qualification for the European Champions Cup, and of course knockout rugby in this competition. Well set up. Knox-Nache gets it away. Hendrikse, nicely done. Well taken in by Kolisi. What a wonderful footballer he is. Great feet, great hands. Zach Ward being very aggressive. Jaden Hendrikse, Jason Hendrikse. Jordan to Jaden. 2 sets of brothers in this Shark side. The Suzukas and Ulster very nearly pinched that one, and it was just knocked into touch, and the Sharks will get the line out.
All backwards.
Yeah, that was so close to Ward going 70 metres in for Ulster there. Just good pressure by Ulster in the defence. A couple of times they get caught jamming in or a little bit short, but what they do so well, Jim, especially McCloskey, he makes a pretty dominant hit, but then he just stands there, he gets in the way, and he's such a big person and big body. He's very difficult for them for the Sharks to clear him out of the way and continue for the quick ball. So once they get themselves into trouble, what Ulster have done so well this evening is the next phase, or the phase after that, they've managed to slow it down again to allow themselves to get back into shape, but they can't continue to give easy yards in the outside channels, because if the likes of Mapimpi and Ethan Hooker get those spaces, they're going to make Ulster pay.
Not an injury, but might be a problem with a contact lens. Did you wear contact lenses when you played?
No, fortunately not. I think I know a few boys used to hate it, especially in the glare of the old floodlights as well. So no, it's sort of one of those ones you see a lot of guys down there all of a sudden they're fixing at it. And thankfully for the Sharks, it's nothing too serious.
Manu Shitsuka,
I want the clear runway, and I'll penalise it.
Younger of the brothers.
Time on.
Line out to the Sharks.
In. 10, yeah. 2
James
meters.
Fender standing in the scrum half position as McNabney prefers to throw.
No, one's out.
It's well taken at the back by the Sharks. Jenkins pulled it in.
First stop.
So they're going to drive around the near side. McNabney shaping up to keep her going. And they do keep it going, and that's the best forward drive we've seen from the Sharks all evening. And that's a no-manner shunt.
Pull them back with you.
Hendrikse will get the ball in his paws.
He's on the ball.
Izuchukwu, as he changed his bind position. The referee says no, he hasn't. They get it away. It's the other Hendrikse, the younger of the two. Runs into James McNabney. Doesn't gain too much from that. Here they come again. Again, it's Fenter, who's been busy this second half.
Retreat. Not leave your players in the way, so we'll just leave it.
It's all slow for the Sharks, and they want quick ball. Little flat pass once again from Vincent Shituka. Great line, great cover, great tackle by Jude Postlethwaite, who wrapped his man up.
Thank you.
And he's trying to keep the ball going. Hendrikse. That was Handel Jacobs took it forward. Still there for the Sharks. They've had all the possession in this second half. Ferocious tackle by Izuchukwu, but still back in the Sharks side. One little clean break, and there it is. And this could be trouble for Ulster. Good defending tackle there by Ulster yet again, with the Sharks on the front foot and looking appallingly ominous. Esterhuizen bounces off a couple of defenders. Still there for the Sharks. Jacobs, or Hendrikse, I should say. Ulster mustn't give away a penalty here, and they've stolen the ball. How did they manage that? Well, what a wonderful steal that was by Ulster.
18, away.
Doak back to Murphy. Must find his touch. And he does find his touch. And how conclusive a moment is that going to be in this game, Ian?
Yeah, Jim, that is a huge turn with Rob Herring. Identifies the ball squeezed out the side. He has a look at the referee, says that's good to go. So I think another, as you said, a big hit by Izuchukwu, and just there the ball pops out, and good awareness by Rob Herring. But what Ulster have done again, Jim, just to repeat myself, they've scrambled so well that whenever they've lost, a bit of a line break, but then 2-3 phases later they're putting in a big hit and they're counter-rucking, which is slowing it down. And as soon as it's slow ball, the Sharks lose a little bit of their shape, and Ulster manage to get the turnover.
Yes, Ulster simply must keep the pace of this game open.
Let's just speed it up, speed it up.
Sharks line up once again. Very nearly stolen by Ulster. That's been knocked through as the Izuchukwu has a wild slash at it.
Backwards off Black, forwards off.
The ball knocked on by Ulster. So an Ulster hand went in there. The referee thinks there was.
Yeah, again, a great competition by Izuchukwu or by Alan O'Connor, sorry, in the line out, and then just it comes through, unfortunately, just off the forward. But otherwise, another chance for Ulster to counter attack. But I think, Jim, we saw all the great tries in the first half, but one of the real positives for Ulster this evening has to be the set piece, both line out and scrum. Scrum-wise, we were worried about this front row of the Sharks that Ulster have held up, and defensively in the line-out, Ulster between Izuchukwu and Matty Ray and Alan O'Connor, they've come up to really compete at a regular occurrence and put real pressure on the Sharks.
10 minutes gone in the second half. Scores it was at the interval: 19 to Ulster, 5 to the Sharks, 3 tries to 1.
Set.
A bonus point victory by Ulster would be quite incredible. That's not a bad Sharks scrub, but Ulster pushed them backwards. Hendrikse Esterhuizen sells the outrageous dummy and plows on up to the 22. That's a good run by the giant centre. This is ball well taken in, and it goes out wide to Mapimpi, who comes back in field, and he's still going to Makazole and Mapimpi. Fassi's in there to help him. This is the Sharks at their very best, playing 15-man rugby. Hendrikse puffs it up to Werner. Werner held up 5 metres short. Ulster desperate to turn it over. Nick Timoney's in the middle of all of that. Referee says leave it white, so Ulster must not concede the penalty. And the Sharks still ploughing forward. Oxenche just drops that massive shoulder of his. Hendrikse once again. Werner runs into James McNabney, I think. And Ulster have got to put it into the scrum because the Sharks, under pressure defensively, have knocked it forward. And the crowd will be more than pleased with that, but not as pleased as Richie Murphy.
No, huge defence from the Ulster tight five, or the forward pack in general, in close. I think what the Sharks did very well was on the set play, they targeted Jack Murphy just to get over the gain out of the Esterhuizen. We saw him do it so often for Harlequins. But then as they get towards the line, that's a good tackle by McNabney. Izuchukwu adding his bulk. It just then forces the knock on from the Sharks. And you can just feel the energy in that Ulster team, that they know what a massive few minutes this has been defensively.
Well, the last scrum of the first half, Ulster put on the pressure and won the ball. They've got to do something here. It's their put in, and they've got to get it away. What a game this fella has played at full-back. I don't recall him starting too many games, certainly not in recent years at this position, which he occupied with such distinction when he was a pupil at Wallace High School.
No, I think we were talking off air maybe once or twice, but one of Jacob's strengths, beating that first man at full-back. Sometimes you have two defenders coming at you, a bit like when Piatow was at Ulster, Jim. He was at his strength when he was on that left wing or the right wing. He was able to get that fend and break a one-on-one tackle. Stockdale on that left wing, one-on-one is one of the best finishers, but tonight we've seen it's been a little bit open. He's had a couple of chances to counter-attack. He's probably enjoyed that opportunity at full-back, and he that first half he was so dangerous every time he got the ball, and his work rate in the backfield was excellent in terms of covering the Sharks kicking game.
13 sub. 13, Lukhanyo. Sub.
Sharks about to make a change.
Yeah, your sub.
And it's the World Cup winner from 2019, Lukhanyo, now 31 years of age, leaves the field. I think it's Lorenzo Julius is coming on to play. Crucial scrum this one. Andy Warwick up against Jacobs on the near side for Ulster.
Crouch.
Almost 13 minutes of the second half played. No advance to the scoreboard. Ulster will be delighted if it stays like that, needless to say. Crucial scrum this one. Sharks will try to put some pressure on. Oh, good work by Warwick. Look at that. Picked up by McNabney off the back of that scrum. Runs into two Sharks. Werner is in there to help him. Doak gets back to his feet. Alan O'Connor. Last game at
He's digging for it.
Kingspan Stadium here at Ravenhill.
Stay, use it.
Doak has many more of those to go, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Has to find his touch, and he does just that. That's a very good clearance kick by Nathan Doak.
It is, Jim. A little bit nervous briefly as McNabney broke off that he was isolated by getting away so cleanly. He almost left his support players behind, but Nathan Doak does really well to identify that, clean it, and then get back out once there's more support there, and a good clearance. Ulster are basically going from set piece to set piece at the minute, just slowing it down, sort of running the clock down a little bit. They just need to be careful that it then doesn't allow Sharks back in the game.
There's multiple world Superbike champion Johnny Ray here to support the cousin Andy Warwick. And here come the Sharks on the narrow side, and that's a clever little kick. And if it's gathered, Ulster could be in trouble, and Ulster managed to get a man back, and they're on the ground, and Nick Timoney has to go into scrum half and pops it up to James McNabney. Not for the first time does the big fella take it on.
Use it.
Nathan Doak says to Jack Murphy, I'll play scrum half if you don't mind. You get back to where you should be. And Ulster drive forward again, and it's well done by Cormac Izuchukwu, who's had a blisteringly strong game.
Use it.
Andy Warwick leaves it for a scrum half. They've got to get themselves down the field if they can. Doak's kick will help. And he's found another very good touch from not much of an angle. And a good bit of defending by Ulster. But they're on the back foot all the time now.
They are, Jim, that's exactly right. And they're struggling to really get down towards halfway. Nathan Doak, another good clearance, but because they're kicking from so deep, he's only able to just get outside the 22. Ulster also need to be careful. I can feel Ben Whitehouse starting to get frustrated with the sort of slow, long rucks. He's shouting at Nathan Doak to use it. He needs to be careful, he's not going to get penalised.
McNabney again.
Good access.
Crisper, cleaner line out this time. No real pressure from Ulster. McNabney in at the back, and the Sharks rumble forward up to Ulster's 22. That's a good forward drive by the boys from Durban. McNabney's got it tucked in there. Jacobs is there too. Fenter's in at the back. Hendrikse is trying to get the ball away, and he does get it away. It's a bit of a loopy old pass, and here they come again. And this is good stuff by Fassi. Little chip through for Hooker to chase. All the way back go Ulster.
Playing the ball.
Sharks come piling in, and Ulster give away the penalty. And is this game about to turn in?
Yeah, you can just see the pressure has been turned. Ulster have actually done really well, Jim, to slow it down to make sure that the Sharks can't go quickly. But they are starting to lose the referee a little bit, which they need to be careful of.
And Whitehouse now, is he looking for his pocket? Is he looking for 15 white?
I can't understand when you're screaming at me what you're asking of me. Speak to me in a calm manner, and I maybe can understand. I didn't see him holding onto the ball, but you cannot scream at me again. It's your penalty. Thank you.
Well, he has given the penalty against Ulster, but he's had a strong word with Aphelele Fassi, who he thinks there was a wee shove off the ball there, but nothing much in it. And down go Ulster, and back goes Jaden Stockdale. That was well done, but the penalty was given away here by Ulster. And it's been put into touch. So the Sharks will fancy this.
Yeah, you got it.
5 metre line out, all the pressure now coming on the boys. And White, Hendrikse pops it up. Good defending, right. 15 metres in from the near touchline by Ulster. Have they turned that one over? No, they haven't. That looked like a knock forward, and Ulster might just have turned it over. And it was knocked forward, and Ulster will get the scrum, and they play yet another get out of jail card.
They do, Jim. And
it's all a bit tight though, isn't it?
It is, and for me it's a strange call from the Sharks. It's as if they haven't done their analysis on how Ulster defend in their own 10 metre line, or 10 metres out from their own line. They send Jack Murphy to the blind wing. They put their blind winger at first defender. And so although Esterhuizen's obviously a big carrier, running straight into Zach Ward and Stuart McCloskey, two of Ulster's biggest defenders. So while they had the opportunity to maul from 6 metres out, they decided to go off the top thick, and they were going to get a soft shoulder potentially of Jack Murphy, or of any 10 obviously. But instead they run into a brick wall, and Ulster have done fantastically well to get out of this.
Almost 18 minutes gone, 19-5 to Ulster, who desperately need this victory tonight to be in with any chance of top flight rugby next year. Big heave, picked up once again by McNabney, who thunders away from the scrum. Doak. Back to Murphy, and he's found a very good touch. Wonderful kick by Murphy. Aphelele Fassi thought about taking the quick throw, but realised there was nothing in it for him. So Ulster cleared the lines yet again. Andy Warwick struggling a wee bit. I think the pressure from that scrum is starting to get to him.
They're treating him for blood injury.
Yeah, I think he's had a trouble with his neck for a couple of weeks, going on a month now, and obviously went off early last week against Leinster. So he Rob Herring and Scott Wilson put in a huge shift in this front row this evening, but knowing Warwick, he's not going to want to come off here tonight, Jim.
Well, he left the field early against Leinster last week, and then his replacement Callum Reid came on, and he left as well. And I was really surprised that both of them are featuring this evening. I can see over the far side Callum Reid is warming up. I think Tom Stewart is warming up as well, and also have another forward coming warming up. Might even be David McCann. That didn't look altogether straight.
No contest.
There's no contest from Ulster, so it doesn't really matter anymore. They keep changing the laws of this game.
3, don't change it out, thank you.
Inventing new ones.
They're just driven out.
McNabney drives forward.
He's from the back, and wall turns.
Sharks trying to work it back from this driving wall. They're getting closer to Ulster 22, but they're not there yet. Ulster dug in. Now the referee surely is going to have to make a call here, and if he does, it could be an Ulster scrum. Down it goes.
Yep.
Coming back
Leave it. Ball's on the floor.
Ulster side.
You can't grab it again.
No, it's back on the Sharks side. Esterhuizen, the monster centre, is well tackled by Matty Reid. That looked like a wee fumble. Oxnache. Sharks is ever trying to create confusion and use both sides. Away they go. Good defending by Ulster in the middle of the park. Oh, did he hold on to that? No, says the referee. Hendrikse gets it away again. There's a wee bit of zip here. That was nicely taken. Fassi once again up to the 22. All the pressure coming from the men in black. Good slip past to McNabney. Well stopped by Ulster. Ulster have hardly been outside their 22 for most of the second half. Still there for the Sharks. Hendrikse once again. Oxnache. First up tackle's good. Nache gets it again. Oh, what a hit that was by Ulster.
There it is. Advantage not
Jude
all the way.
Postlethwaite, who's been very good all evening defensively. Referee's got the hand. He's got the hand out. But he's
Still
playing
advantage.
on Jaden Hendrikse. Little offload to replacement prop Jacobs.
Still advantage.
Here they go again. This is good stuff by the Sharks. Wonderful tackle once again by Ulster. And here they go again as Jacobs, the replacement tight head prop. And he's only 5 metres away. Hendrikse, surely it's going to be a try. Under the Ulster post, right over they go. And that's a splendid try by the Sharks.
It just felt like a matter of time, Jim, didn't it? I think with Manu Izuchukwu getting over the line there, it was just gain line. A little bit as in they've just decided to tighten everything up. A couple of massive hits by Postlethwaite in the defence there by Ulster. A couple of times it looked like they were getting back into shape, but just the Sharks just kept coming back aggressively against the line, and unfortunately just got to the point where unfortunately Ulster couldn't quite keep up. But a great effort by Ulster, but just the power game eventually there by the Sharks just being a little bit too much.
Big drive by Manu Izuchukwu. And the conversion looks like just about a formality. Ulster may be bringing on a few replacements, particularly in the tight forwards.
His boot was 50
There's
metres
one
up
of
the
the
field.
few Sharks supporters here. He looks like he's enjoying himself, judging by what's in front of him in the plastic glasses.
Time on now. Shot clock start.
It looks like Postlethwaite struggling a bit, Jim.
Well, I think he'll be fine. He's a tough guy. Maybe he's banged his shoulder. He can certainly tackle, can't he?
He can. Between himself and McCloskey, the midfield has been really solid this evening. They just need to be careful. A couple of times they're getting caught a little bit tight, but in the forward pack, just because they're losing a few of their hits. But massive 5-10 minutes coming up now, Jim. Sharks are within a score. Ulster need to try and wrestle them into back, and we're seeing Callum Reid coming on. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more subs come on the pitch.
Well, Callum Reid comes on, and the redoubtable Andy Warwick leaves us, and that is the last time this wonderful prop forward and sporting icon here at this ground. And there's cousin John giving him a fine round of applause. Good night to the family.
And 6.
Callum Reid, who's been leading up to games like this since he played in 3 successive Schools Cup final winning sides. Few replacements for the Sharks. We'll get back to that in a second. That ball was pulled forward by the Sharks, and Ulster might have the chance. Just Callum Reid on at the moment. Werner, who's had a quietish game, involved in that at long last.
Yeah, he does really well. He puts huge pressure, Cock does, and as the Sharks throw up the pod to try and catch it, Jason Jenkins, I think it was, doesn't quite get his hand to it, and the pressure that Cock's able to put onto it was actually in behind him was Manu Izuchukwu there. Great pressure. Ulster a little bit unfortunate to get a penalty. I don't really like the rule, but it could easily have been one of the Sharks players playing it in front of the knock on. But a big first scrum here for Callum Reid.
Callum Reid has come through all sorts of injury problems, notably last season a back operation. And if you're playing in this position in the front row, the last thing you need is a dodgy back, because you wouldn't be able to play. Pretty obvious that.
Set.
So Nathan Doak, who can play a bit. It's a good Ulster scrum. Good straight back by Reid. Here they come again. Taken on once again by Stuart McCloskey. Makes good ground, the big fella. Doak gets away to Werner Koch. Tops it up to Postlethwaite, who sidles his way through a tackle. Taken on by Ulster's captain, Alan O'Connor. Good clear out by Callum Reid. Sharks up very quickly. Nice footwork by Scotty Wilson. Cock is in there to help the prop forward. Doak swings it away to the far side. Again, it's McCloskey. Good tackle.
No, get out,
by
get out. Thank you.
Vincent Shituka. Rob Herring.
Okay, roll 16.
Tackled by Jacobs. Doak, Murphy, Matty Ray. Doak switches it again. Nice offload. Here goes Callum Reid. He scored from distances like this before, but not tonight. Herring. Lovely stuff done. Here come Ulster again. They've spilled that forward, unfortunately, and that's going to be a scrum to the Sharks. But after all that pressure, Ulster responded and find themselves in Sharks territory, which is where they want to be. We said they would settle for 19-0. We said they would settle for 19-5. Did they settle for 19-12 in?
Yeah, I think they would, Jim, but it's going to be a tough last 15 minutes to expect the Sharks not to put more points on the board. So good thing is Ulster, they didn't just go into the basic, boring, easy to defend one-off runners. They're changing the direction, they're changing the point of attack. They just need to be careful not to split the field and just go one way or the other, and then just an easy defence for the Sharks and then get isolated. But nice little bit of tip on, some plays out the back, and just unfortunately for Ulster, the handling not quite there on the edge. Otherwise there was a great opportunity for Nick Timoney down the touchline. But great work from Ulster again. Just try and put a bit of pressure on the Sharks, and hopefully they'll try and exit, and we'll have another counter attack or an opportunity to attack from a set piece inside the Sharks half.
I think Fez Mabata has come on in the middle of the Sharks front row for Bongi Manambi. Sharks have got the scrum, but they're well inside their own 22. And we have just under 15 minutes to go. 7 points between them. Last scrum from an Ulster point of view was pretty decent with Callum Reid up there.
Speak up a little because I got to
Not feeling to stand up to the pressure.
It's very hard to tell because you can't make a mark. So I'll try my best. Is that okay?
Thuko Machuna is on the
there we are. We're all good
on
there,
the
yeah?
Sharks loose head side. Richie Murphy out of his seat. He normally sits still.
Just, just speak a bit
getting
louder.
a wee bit antsy.
Thank you.
He knows the importance of this game. He knows the importance of it to Ulster's season and beyond.
Crouch. Bind.
Bradley David says there.
Set.
Come on at scrum half, I do believe, for the Sharks. Well, he hasn't come on yet. That's the first penalty Ulster have conceded at the scrum, and maybe they were penalised for swinging it round illegally. I just don't know.
Yes, you just hope that's not the start of the momentum swinging. It's now a big decision for Richie Murphy, forwards coach Jimmy Duffy. Do they need to go to the bench, Jim, bring on fresh legs in the pack? They've gone with a 6-2 split, obviously knowing that they're playing against a big South African pack forward, and there's no point in having them all on if they're not going to bring them. But it's that fine balance of the team are winning, it's a really close game. The nervousness of bringing on the bench to get up to speed that might give away penalties, just being offside, too exuberant. It's just, that's a big decision now for Richie Murphy and the rest of the coaching.
Yeah, they've got some big men now. They've got Matt Dalton, they've got David McCann, they've got the very experienced Kieran Treadwell. That's well taken by the Sharks now. Will they try and move this? I think they will. Esterhuizen won't. He'll move it like an earth machine up to the halfway line. Hendrikse swings it to the other side. This is good stuff by the Sharks. Ulster's first up tackling has got to be spot on. Izuchukwu was in there, but the ball is coming back on the Sharks side, albeit slowly. Hendrikse gets it away. Great tackling by Ulster, pushing the Sharks back inside their own half. Kolisi. Not often the Sharks do that, but that's a great kick. Who's underneath it? Stockdale is the answer. What a good take by Jacob Stockdale. He gets clattered by a couple of Sharks. One of them is opposite number Fassi. McNabney.
They've all rolled.
Ball back on the Ulster side as Izuchukwu gets the pass over the top, and it was a forward pass, and he can't believe that is Izuchukwu, and that's well, how dangerous is that going to be in?
Yeah, it's really difficult because you like his thought process, his decision making. It's the right one to try and get the width. He obviously saw Ethan Hooker coming in for the intercept, going over the top, and it's just very frustrating for Ulster because it was the right decision, just the execution not quite there. So it's nice to see that they're continuing to try and play, but it's just trying to make the right decisions under pressure.
That's the best I can do.
Scott Wilson, Rob Herring there from the start, and
just come back.
Callum Reid. Wilson and Reid, although a few years apart, could be crucial men in this position for Ulster for a season or two to come. And Tom O'Toole, of course, is relatively young.
I'm working with you.
11 minutes and a wee bit to go. 19-12 to Ulster.
Fine.
So much of the season could depend on this last little spell.
Set.
Sharks have a feeling we'll take this up the middle with Esterhuizen.
Yeah, go on.
Good squeeze by Ulster at the scrum. Hendrikse on the narrow side gets it away to Hooker, who's very quick and very elusive. Good covering by Ulster, but the Sharks on the front foot. Take it of Jacobs, who gets it away.
Number. Okay,
here come the Sharks again, looking for another Esterhuizen. That's all over the place. This is going to be the try that brings it level.
I think it was just lazy rather than sitting.
Well,
just be careful.
What can you say about that, Ian?
I think, Jim, it was just there was a feeling of inevitability once that scrum
started
twisting around. The Sharks did really well to attack down the blind side. Ethan Hooker has looked really dynamical, even really dangerous, and you just see the Sharks, all of them looking to get in the ball, and Julius there at the end just following in, and unfortunately for us they couldn't stop from short. But we were worried about Sharks coming on momentum like last week they did away at Edinburgh. They finished so strongly. We talked about Ulster needing to be accurate, not make mistakes. Unfortunately, a couple of mistakes there. That forward pass just gives them the easy access into the Ulster half, and from there they've managed now to get the score. So Ulster, the difficulty here, Jim, is that Ulster's going to feel the momentum's going against them. They're going to feel that the Sharks are on top, but it's still going to be 19-all. The key is that Ulster get down, another kick-off like the last, try and force a bit of pressure and get the next score and get back into the lead.
We've seen a handful of games this season where Ulster have gone into what should have been impressive leads at the end of it, and were impressive leads, and failed to score in the second half, and this could be another one. John Plumtree will be delighted with the Ulster supporters as well. They're getting behind the side now. Kieran Treadwell comes on for his great buddy Alan O'Connor, they started almost 70 games for Ulster together. And Treadwell off back to England and back to Harlequins at the end of this season, and he has been another terrific player for Ulster down the years. 177 appearances for Ulster, 11 caps for Ireland. Big man. And off goes James McNabney and Rob Herring. So Ulster bringing the changes left, right and centre now. Dave McCann is on.
Let's go.
Tom Stewart is on.
Let's go.
Good restart kick. Ulster very nearly securing it from Werner Koch. It was just the right amount of pressure on it by Jack Murphy. Hendrikse, who's been terrific all day. Now they try to drive it away. Ulster have got to keep them here and try and squeeze something out of referee Ben Whitehouse. Albeit a penalty will do them rightly.
Stay back, lads.
Hendrikse again. That's well set up by the forwards. Back to the brother. And he's given it a fair old wallop, but it's going to be an Ulster line out. Has he reached the halfway line? Not quite.
No, but a good clearance by the Sharks. And now the balance is Ulster. How much do they play to get within striking zone of scoring against the Sharks versus trying to continue to turn them and put them under pressure and force a mistake down in Sharks territory? So difficult decision-making time now for Jack Murphy and Nathan Doak. I think the key is to make sure you're not playing too much rugby in your half. Take maybe 1, 2, 3 phases, and then if it's not on, either kick to compete or try and find touch deep in the Sharks half.
Useful line-out steal by the Sharks. Here they come again. My word, that's not often Stuart McCloskey has stood up like that.
No, momentum.
Good driving forward. You can see the Sharks have got the bit between their teeth now, Ian.
Yeah, you've got momentum, Jim, and now they also need to force them into mistake.
Yeah, agree, backwards, agree.
The referee said that went backward as Izuchukwu puts in the tackle. Ulster inside their own half where they really don't want to be. Good work by Tom Stewart in the middle of all that, making life difficult for Hendrikse. And again, they get across that halfway line, and again, it's Jason Jenkins, not Jacobs, as I said earlier.
Use it. 9, stay onside.
Good work by Vincent Shituka. Koch knocks it backward, gathered in by Ulster, by Jacob Stockdale. And away goes Stockdale. Could they unbelievable happen. The ball has gone loose. Stockdale has to put in the tackle, and he does just that. That might be a game saver for Ulster. They'd love to win this, needless to say. Likewise, the Sharks. Hendrikse gets it away.
No, the play was away.
We said Fez Abata gets it away too. Hendrikse kicks. Zach Ward. Now, Zach, are you going to run? You are. Keep running, Zach. Good boy, Zach. Up to the 22. Doak is in there as well. Tom Stewart, no headgear on this evening. Murphy gets it away. Clever stuff by Ulster. Here goes Stockdale. Straightens again. Doak under a wee bit of pressure, but he's got it away, and it's been stolen by the Sharks. So I thought there was a knock on by the Sharks there, and give the referee the bird. And away by Fassi. That's a huge kick. And Kieran Treadwell, like the biggest full-back in the world, goes back now. What's his kicking like? He's not going to kick. No, he's not. He's going to give it to Stockdale. He's not going to kick either. This is danger time for Ulster with what, 5 minutes and a wee bit left. Have they got the ball back? They have, but they've conceded some 80 metres. They've gone from one end of the field to the other, and Murphy gets it away, but it's going to be a Sharks line out, and you do worry him.
Yeah, you do, Jim, and with 5.5 minutes to go, we're seeing a couple more subs to bring more energy, but whenever Jacob started making that counter-attack, you thought Ulster were going to put them under pressure, but Sharks do so well to exit and get the ball and force their way down. So I think Kolisi does well. I actually thought he played the 9 before the ball was out, but Nathan Doak, I think, asking for it. But Cork gets up so well here to try and compete in the air, and this is where you see Stockdale breaking through. Having had not much to do in the second half, he looks so fresh and sharp. You thought he was going to score a wonder, try to win the game, but unfortunately for Ulster, didn't quite go their way. So a huge point in the game now with 5 minutes to go.
Ulster have brought on Brian O'Connor to play just his second game.
No contest.
Well, one at the line out. Now here come the Shark. What can they conjure up? That's been spilled forward, has it? No. There's the referee again. Backward. The crowd don't like him for that. This is the very dangerous Ethan Hooker. Good covering tackle by Zach Ward. But look at the Sharks motoring forward with serious intent. They can steal this game with another try, and that would give them 4 tries. That would give them the bonus point win at the home of Ulster Rugby, and they're doing their very best, and Ulster starting to look a wee bit ragged. Here come the Sharks again. Now they've got it back again, once again. Replacement loose head prop is there, the replacement tight head is there, the replacement scrum half is there.
Stay, don't kick the ball.
Now they move it forward, and again Ulster's first up defending is pretty decent. The ball has come out on the Sharks side. Zach Murphy in the middle, well, that way he probably doesn't want to be. Oh, the good chance now. Esterhuizen, the monster in the middle of the park. Good tackle by Tom Stewart.
It's got to be black. It's got to be black ball. Leave it, 6.
Referee said it's got to be a black ball, and he's got the hand out for a penalty against Ulster.
3 times.
And this could be the game if the Sharks decide to go for it, but they're going for the try. Kolisi knocked to the ground
back in the line
by Matthew Dalton, the very aggressive Matthew Dalton. And surely the Sharks will go for the lead here, Ian.
Yeah, I think it'd be very surprising if they didn't take the 3 points to close
6,
the game
I told
out.
you 3 times, roll away, and he didn't.
I think unfortunately Ulster, Matthew Reid was not able to roll away under pressure, and then with the counter ruck by Ulster putting him even further back there. So hugely disappointing for Ulster here, Jim, that it's with 2 minutes to go after this kick's over, it's going to be a tough ask to get back up the other end and get the ball back. I think it's just one of those ones where you felt the momentum change in the second half, that you felt that the Sharks just got on a roll, they penalised and really put Ulster under pressure, and then from the forward pass they scored off the scrum, and then from the turnover in zone 22 they've put Ulster under huge pressure. So Sharks have really dominated the second half.
Well, if they win this game, it'll be the second in the row they've won in the Northern Hemisphere. Squeaked it with a late try against Edinburgh last week, courtesy of Master Mapimpi, and now courtesy of Master Hendrikse. They've got themselves into the lead for the very first time in this game, and with 3 minutes remaining, you couldn't ask for more than that. Ulster 19 and the Sharks 22.
All game, Jack Murphy's kickoffs have been right on the money. You can see the Sharks have changed their setup slightly to try and account for it. It's whether he tries to do the same thing and get the ball back for Ulster off a Sharks exit.
He's got to give this plenty of height, and he's given a wee bit too much length. It'll be easy to take in by the Sharks.
No, leave it!
It's well done by
He went on your
Manu
elbows.
Shituka.
He's digging. Use it, 9. 21.
And that's kicked from inside the 22 to the 10-metre line. Still a chance for Ulster. They need to try to win the game. And 2 points from a draw
17.
would be no good to them.
No.
At the moment, they've got one losing bonus point, and they haven't even got a try-scoring bonus point, thanks to a pointless in terms of the scoreboard second half.
Yeah, first thing, win this line out, and then play whatever phase they decide to do off that. But I think they're going to keep it quite simple, nothing too fancy.
Tom Stewart.
Good contest.
Well taken by
Inside
McCann.
the 5.
Also looking for absolute penalty to take them down closer to the Sharks try line.
First.
Sharks have dug in. Tom Stewart will be told to release it.
Use it.
Doak is looking everywhere to see what's available to him. A little bit of a stumble there by Ulster. Have they got the ball back? They have. Doak thought about right, then goes left. Callum Reid gets himself ambushed. Doak again. David McCann. Assist by Stuart. Where's the ball? There it is. Doak has it. Murphy. Slung wide by Ulster. Ball taken by Stockdale, who's been fantastic. Here goes Zach Ward into touch with the feet. That was a half chance, but only a half chance. There was no room in this near side. And we're into the final minute, and it's the Sharks line out. And it's going to be heartbreak yet again. First time that Ulster have lost to a South African team in this particular competition here in this ground.
Yeah, it was a great ball by Postlethwaite over the top to Stockdale. It looked like Stockdale was going across the pitch, slightly hoping that Ward would come back under. Obviously, Ward fancying his chances one-on-one, but just great defence by the Sharks just to sit off and use a touchline as an extra defender.
Under 30 seconds to go, Ulster need to steal this line out or force a penalty from the referee. They haven't won the line out. The ball has gone away. It's all over the place. Surely they must kick at the Sharks when they're playing silly you-know-what in the 22. Treadwell right at the bottom of all of that where he doesn't want to be. Can't really contribute from there. Little glance to see what's going on. Sharks know now that we are into the red and it's a home defeat for Ulster, and probably every chance that the season is gone. And Aphelele Fassi kicks it deep into the stand at the Aquinas end, and the Sharks have come to Belfast and do what no South African side have done before them, and they've defeated Ulster on home territory. It was a wonderful first half from Ulster.